The impudence, the audacity, the unmitigated gall of those Knuckleheads of Liberty podcasters, daring to voice opinions outside the mainstream of accepted thought. Listen if you dare. It's angry, it's funny, it's even sometimes sad, but it's always based on freedom and justice, as you will see. Here's our host, Jason McPhee.
Good afternoon and welcome to Knuckleheads of Liberty. We're coming at you on July 20th, 2022. So somehow still afloat through this crazy Biden administration. But one of the things I guess we wanted to talk about today is just how self-defense is taking a beating out there. But before we get into any of that, let me introduce you to our panel. In our upper left-hand corner, we have our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett. In our upper right-hand corner, we have Leon, the word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty. He is a retired engineer in the state of California. And my name is Jason McPhee, and I'll be your host today. So let's jump. Well, before we jump into it, actually, we were gone last week. And so we did have a show canned for our public access, but otherwise we were off for a week. And the reason is because we were attending Freedom Fest. And so we're going to have a lot of stuff that we're going to be bringing to you in the coming months, including next week. We hope to have a show that show some of the short interviews we took while we were there and some of the action we saw. But we're hoping also to get a lot of long interviews from that as well in the coming weeks. So, great time we had there. Me and Leon were there wandering around and learning all kinds of great stuff, meeting all kinds of great people. And boy, that's great time. And by the way, too, one thing that's going to be in Memphis next year. So if you're, out in that neck of the woods, something to look forward to. Leon, do you have any quick thoughts on it before we move on to the next topic?
I thought Freedom Fest was great, wonderful. Like you said, you met a lot of great people. We even met the head of the National Libertarian Party, Angela McCardle. We have a short interview with her, which we play at some point in time. But the whole thing was great. I mean, we met so many interesting people. Rand Paul was there and various other people. Steve Forbes. It was good. It was great. It was great.
Okay. Well, so let's get on to our first topic of the day. Boy, I tell you, self-defense is just taking a beating, and the topic that's been making the news, and it happened just after we did our tapings for the last show, so we didn't get to talk about it over this 2-week break. But Jose Alba, and a lot's happened with him, bodega worker in New York City, and he was attacked by. Essentially, the background was you had this guy. He was a migrant bodega worker, a senior citizen, I think. He was an honest guy, no record.
He's 61. He's 61.
Yeah, 61 years old, and absolutely no issues at all. But he had somebody come in. They tried to buy a bag of potato chips with an EBD card, and the EBD card didn't clear. He tried to run it a few times, didn't clear, and the person threatened him and brought their boyfriend back to beat him up, or to threaten him at least. Shows him getting in fact, let's show I'm going to show the video here, and we'll talk over it a little bit while it's going here. But essentially, this is Jose Alba, okay, a senior citizen. He is working, and this guy is threatening him because he, he's upset that his girlfriend's EBD card didn't clear, and why he's not getting the bag of potato chips. So he's back there now. He's assaulted him at this point, and it's not looking good for Jose Alba. But as things progress, Jose Alba is going to exercise his right for self-defense here, which, by the way, a lot of people on the left clearly don't believe that you have a right for self-defense, as Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau has said. So at this point, Jose Alba has picked up a knife that was sitting back there. They've cut that part of the clip, and Jose Alba wound up killing his assaulter. And Jose Alba was also stabbed by the woman who wanted the free bag of potato chips too, apparently, while all this was happening. And when the police showed up, they didn't arrest the person who stabbed Jose Alba. they arrested Jose Alba. They arrested him and this migrant, and they sent him to Rikers Island in New York City. So this is absolutely ridiculous. And they also hit him with a $500,000 bail, which is something that he had no means to come up with, or any percentage of that, in order to be able to remain out of prison at this time. And it created quite an outrage in New York. A lot of people saw the video. Thank goodness there was video, because had there been no video, this man would probably be rotting right now in Rikers Island, for some kind of woke social justice cause or something like that. It's just absolutely awful. But because there was video and because it was put out, this man is now finally been released, and this just happened yesterday. Actually, this is the wrong clip, but apparently they just gave him the release yesterday. And they dropped all charges, but absolutely appalling that it took that much, when here was a person clearly doing nothing wrong, and he was assaulted, potentially life-threatening situation for him, and he goes to jail for defending himself. Well, gosh, I got to kick this off to you guys. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, okay, Tim. I mean, Jason, think about this for a second. Tim, you guys think about this for a second. What is the reason that this guy was arrested before the investigation was even completed? You can't tell me the police could have looked at that video and still say, well, at least they would have had some doubt to say, well, did he commit murder, or was it really self-defense? If they looked at that video, any human being with half a brain should have been able to, at least at the end of that video, say, well, there's some doubt. Was it murder? Was it homicide, or was it self-defense? At least that. All right. I saw self-defense, but let us say, well, okay, you had a little doubt what was going on. Why was this guy arrested? You know why this guy was arrested? Because of the wokeness that is going on in our society, the tolerance of lawlessness, and the selective prosecution of people depending on who you are. Okay, if you're not a social justice warrior, if you're not part of that crowd, you could get arrested. Just look at what's going on right now concerning that January 6 people. The January 6 people went into the Capitol. They were wrong. I am not here to defend that. They were wrong. They went into the Capitol. They have been arrested. Many of them are still sitting in prison right now in Washington, D.C. as we speak. I think they probably have been charged, but many of them are sitting in prison. But look on the other side. The summer of 2020, what happened? All our cities were being burned down, looting, murder, all these things were going on. Where is the committee to investigate this? Where are the people being investigated and put in prison? Where is that going on? Maybe there have been a few, but where is the massive push to get these people prosecuted? Stephen Colbert, that comedian on late night TV, his staffers broke into the Capitol. For what reason, I don't know. You know what happened to them? The charges have been dropped. But this is what is going on here. The tolerance of lawlessness and the selective prosecution of people depending on who they are. Some of it is social justice, some of it is skin color. It just depends on who you are. This is bad. This is an attack upon our republic.
Well, for one thing, just having the ability, using an EBT card for purchases of junk food like potato chips should be disallowed on just health grounds alone. Secondly, the justice system is not your friend in a situation where you're alive and the other guy's dead, especially in blue districts like New York. And so where they probably have a policy as to why did he get arrested. And I don't know. I don't really know, but I'm just assuming that the policy is you arrest the person that's alive when there's somebody dead. It doesn't matter what. And you're gonna
unless your name is Hunter Biden or something like that.
Thank you.
Correct. Of course, there's always exceptions to every rule, and that's one of them. And so it just speaks to, especially in blue districts like this, especially heavily blue districts run by people that are just a bunch of, big government, top down central planners that just love to. They hate the whole idea of people having human rights and individuality, individual rights, and all that. They just despise that. They are anti-American Americans, unfortunately, but they exist, and so you're really at a loss. So what does that tell you? It tells you if you want to ride a subway train without getting raped, if you want to own a business or work at a business, and be able to defend yourself and not get thrown in jail and lose all that time and money, you had better move out of the blue and into something a little more reddish in color, at least pink.
But fine, I accept all that you say. But the point is, the matter is the fact of the matter is, Alvin Bragg, who is the newly elected district attorney, he he don't even want to prosecute some of the worst crimes, or at least he's dropping charges against some of the worst crimes you see in New York City. Against who? Some of these people are correct criminals he's doing this against. But here's a man, Jose Alba. Here's a man who doesn't have a criminal record. The video clearly shows he was defending himself. But Alvin Bragg and his people are telling us the right of self-defense really and truly does not exist. That's what they're telling us.
Yeah, well, you brought up the second aspect of this whole blue state thing. If you're rightfully defending your rights, your personal rights, you're the bad guy. If you are wrongfully being a criminal and committing criminal acts against other people, then you're a good guy. Right, automatically. And of course, a lot of it depends on your skin color, and
So
ethnicity. But
yes,
it's just that simple fact. I mean, I don't know. You put the second piece of the puzzle back together. Thank you, Leon. But it just means that even more so to get away from these kinds of jurisdictions where the good are punished and the bad are let go, you've got to get out. Just simply get out. I mean, I know it's tough, and
Yeah.
I know it's not an easy solution, but it isn't going to get better. And here's the cynic in me popping out. It's not going to get better. You're not going to change the district attorney in your jurisdiction. So you've got to go to a jurisdiction that has a district attorney that champions the rights of the individual over
Yeah.
the collective. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. Well,
indeed.
before we get too far off, you had mentioned earlier, Tim, some of the consequences that can happen to this. The idea when you don't allow people to defend yourself, things that can happen on subways, for instance. And so let me bring you all to another video that happened also out of New York City. So, wonderful blue state utopia here going on over there. So here was something that happened earlier this year where a woman was on a subway train in New York, and it was made the national news because while this strange kind of psychotic looking person it was on video, he was assaulting this woman and nobody lifted a finger to stop her, and that's what everybody was wondering about. Well, why would this how happen that nobody would do anything? Well, gee, I wonder why. If you have a district attorney who is going to put the full weight of the law against you, maybe send you to Rikers Island for
Yes.
standing up to defend yourself or somebody else you see being violated, why on earth would you do anything? I mean, this is insanity on stilts. I mean, like Tim was saying, get the hell out of places like New York. This is really uh, just atrocious. But let me show you this video so that you can see what happened here. So this is a video that somebody took on, and now we just saw this odd person kind of walk right in front of the camera. There this person is. They clearly seem to be acting a little deranged here. This one person is trying to get away. This one woman tries to leave, and he grabs her by the hair. This is a person who does not know him. She's just happens to be sitting there, and you can see everybody standing there looking, nobody doing a thing. And she's clearly distressed. She's tried to get up, and we're going to see just a little bit more behavior out of this person that is just absolutely cringeworthy. Let me see here how much. Unfortunately, I can't advance the video from here. But essentially, this is the kind of behavior that you get in places where you have no right to self-defense. Now we see this person getting up. He's dragging the person with him by the hair. And then he's going to walk over to this other area of the train and start kicking the windows. But you just, what are you supposed to do? I mean, this is what you're being told by the good folks like Kathy Hochul in New York City, who don't want you to have a right to defend yourself, or the state of New York rather. And they're just absolutely fine. Oh, there the person goes. Wonderful, wonderful. This is what you get in a blue state utopia like New York. You guys want to jump in on this really quick? Oh, and by the way, there are a few other examples similar to this that have happened recently as well. In San Diego, near where you are, Tim, a man tried to come to a lady's defense, and he wound up jailed in the situation on a bus. And also on public transit in Pennsylvania, a woman was literally sexually assaulted in front of other people, and nobody did anything about it. So this is not a one-off. We're not talking about just oddities here. Okay, shoot, Tim.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of self-defense and carry people that train people to carry firearms and other types of weapons on their person to defend themselves. There's a lot of cautionary advice from those people, those instructors, not to intervene in situations that do not involve you or someone you are personally connected to, somebody that you care for. So not to intervene, and these are the reasons why, especially in these kinds of areas. Now, whether or not you're going to take that advice is up to you, of course. But they caution that you're treading on thin ice when you intervene in situations where somebody's being victimized that you don't know, because it could end up in you getting seriously hurt, killed, or if you end up killing or injuring the other person, being liable criminally for it especially in these certain jurisdictions. So there's that going around. So, and yes, you already said it in the prelude that who can blame anyone for not intervening. Because you can get a lot of blame for intervening. So who would blame you for not intervening? Nobody really. Well, maybe some people would. It's like, oh, well, I would have kicked his butt, or I would have separated. I would have done something. I would have stepped up. Yeah, okay, great. Maybe you would have, and maybe it would have all gone well for you. But oftentimes it does not, and that's what's going on here. So this girl, if she's got half a brain, she'll leave New York and never come back, and never be on another subway again. And anyone looking at it will never go on another subway again. Leave it to the criminals and the rapists, and just let it rot, and let the entire city of New York go the direction it is bound to go anyway, and that it is headed for. Rot to the core. What do you want? What do you think, Leon?
Well, I mean, it all gets back to the original point I was trying to make, is that this tolerance of lawlessness is spreading. So it's not only that within the judicial system that people are tolerating the lawlessness, but we also seen private citizens seeing these things and not doing anything about it, not even intervening to help someone. Is lawlessness being tolerated? Yes, I know, Tim, you're right, that even if you do intervene, you could end up either injured, or you could end up being prosecuted when you are trying to help someone in a bad situation. But is it this tolerance of lawlessness is an attack upon the fundamentals of our great land? We are talking about the attack upon Western civilization, where the rule of law is supposed to rule us. That is what is supposed to rule us, not this woke garbage. but lawlessness is becoming too widespread. It's a dangerous trend that we are seeing within our society. We got to be careful.
Is there a solution?
Well, hold on. Before we get to that, we're not going to have time for good guys with guns, Tim, and we're all triggered. So let's go straight to good guys with guns, because this is on spot for self-defense here.
Oh gosh.
And here in Indianapolis, or Indiana rather, there was a recent incident of a mass shooter. And Tim, you got anything on that for us?
Yeah, I do. I'm looking it up. Give us another a little bit more background.
Okay, well, so anyway, so a guy came into a mall with a rifle and he started shooting. Now, this is a no gun zone, so I don't know how he managed to get into a no gun zone like a shopping mall with with his gun, because I've just never heard of that happening before.
Do you think maybe he disobeyed the
I can't believe it, but I think that's possible too.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that anyone would suggest that.
Yeah. Okay, so it's police say it took. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm kind of going a little bit off this article that you've got up there, because the article is about the critics. I'll get to that. Police say it took Elisha Dicken just 15 seconds to neutralize a man who opened fire on shoppers at an Indiana mall. Quick action, they believed, saved countless lives. Now, why do they use the word countless? Because you can't count what you don't know. This is going to become an example of the broken window fallacy of economics put into a self-defense situation. I can explain further for the people that don't know what the broken window fallacy is, and I will explain that. Next, the time lapse between the moment that Jonathan Saperman, the bad guy, exited the restroom and began shooting, and when he was shot by the civilian, was only 15 seconds, not 2 minutes as previously reported. 15 seconds to engagement. Greenwood Police Chief James Eisen said in a statement Tuesday, the surveillance video shows Saperman exit the restroom at 5:56 and 48 seconds. He was neutralized by Dicken at 5:57, less than a minute later, and 3 seconds. The statement corrects a previous police timeline in which authorities said the incident lasted 2 minutes. No, 15 seconds. Police also revealed that a preliminary autopsy report on the gunman showed that he was struck 8 times and died of his wounds, meaning Dicken, the good guy, the good Samaritan, only missed the shooter twice despite engaging the threat from a distance with a handgun. Police say the gunman was armed with 2 rifles, a Glock pistol, and was carrying at least 100 rounds of ammunition with him. He killed 3 people before being quickly neutralized by Dicken, who began closing the distance on the shooter as he waved for bystanders to flee behind him. Eisen, the cop, said that Dicken's actions were heroic and very tactically sound, despite him having no police or military background. There you go. Okay, just a regular Joe. Okay, oh my God, he could do things tactically sound. Yes, with training and persistence. Many more people would have died last night if not for a responsible armed citizen who took action when the first 2 minutes, within the first 15 seconds of this shooting, Eisen said. Guy Relford, an attorney hired to represent Dicken, the good guy, said he was proud of his client's actions at the mall. I am proud to serve as Eli Dicken's attorney and spokesperson, Redford said in a statement. He was a true American hero who saved countless lives, and once again, the word countless lives, during a horrific event that could have been so much worse if not for Eli's courage, preparedness, and willingness to protect others. Here is the brilliant response from the left, and this shows the divide that exists between people with a brain and people without, okay? And those on the left are the ones without. Critics are lashing out after a man carrying a pistol stopped a mass shooting in an Indiana shopping mall, arguing the man should not be called a good Samaritan. The term Good Samaritan came from a Bible passage of a man from Samaria who stopped on the side of the road to help a man who was injured and ignored. Wrote, who is the brilliant biblical scholar here? CBS 4 traffic anchor Justin Kolar on Twitter Monday. I cannot believe we live in a world where the term can equally apply to someone killing someone. ... My God. Well, Mr. Biblical scholar Justin Kolar, how do you reconcile King David's killing of Goliath with a rock? How does that, mesh with your idiocy and your biblical moronic lunacy and
Tim,
lack of...
I think you found our knucklehead noise patrol for the week. It's these people responding to the shooting.
Anyway, but there's more. I mean, it's all typical lunacy. Should I continue with the lunacy from the left? Would you like me to? What do you think?
Well, only for 30 seconds, so we can wrap up.
Okay. All right. Okay, here. Let's see. Okay, so other people praised him for quick reaction. We got all that, and then. Here we go. The Good Samaritan paid for an unknown immigrant's health care out of pocket. Comedian John Fugelsang wrote on Twitter, the Good Samaritan did not shoot anyone. Jesus was not a fan of killing for any reason, including self-defense. BS. But if these amosexuals, of which I am one, I will confess right here and now, had ever read the Bible, which you've never read, you idiot, they couldn't support the GOP or the NRA. Oh, yes, they could. And they do. And they will. And you're an idiot. So there you go. I can't even read it anymore. It's just further complete leftist idiot.
Well, it sounds like just absolutely too many knuckleheads on that side of the issue.
Yeah.
Not the good kind of knuckleheads either.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Leon?
Well, I mean, these people are insane. Obviously, they're clearly insane. A guy out of his own heart decides to defend people who are under attack with some lunatic with a rifle, and who they go after? They don't go after the lunatic who's trying to kill innocent people. They go after the guy who actually stopped the guy, right? Who stopped the lunatic.
And he stopped them because he brought a gun into a gun-free zone, right? Literally, if he didn't have that gun, how many more people would be dead?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So it's just absolutely lunacy on stilts that people are, not praising this guy as a hero. But, we're near the end of the show right now. And I just wanted to remind everybody that next week we will be giving you more from our trip to Freedom Fest. So definitely tune into that. And until then, with all these lunatics on the left running things, do your best to stay free. Till next time.
Indeed. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, always and forever.
Thank you for listening to the Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. Find us on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, your favorite podcast network, and at knuckleheadsofliberty.com.